civilization already.
Right. He was just interpreting.
That's all he was doing, you know, and his story was pretty much dead on. Now that dozens of other researchers have gone and done their own work, like myself, and we're coming up with the same story, you know, so it's really amazing.
Billy, let's talk about Atlantis for a moment and the Atlanteans. What is their connection to, like, the Emerald Tablets?
Well, the Atlantean civilization is part of this Anunnaki race that came here. See, the Anunnaki name is a generalization term for people coming from other planets and star systems to Earth. It's not just one specific race of people. And so these Atlanteans, they came here in deep antiquity, and they literally began to develop their own civilization on this planet, a high level of civilization. They came here to mine this planet for resources, not just for gold, but for many other resources. And they also saw it as kind of a fresh start, kind of like a breakaway civilization is what it really became for them. And they developed a high level of civilization here without Homo sapiens sapien, just on their own. At some point, they began to go to war against each other. This is even talked about in the book of Deuteronomy. This is talked about in many other ancient texts, where these gods started going against each other and fighting. There were some living on Mars called the Igigi, which were the working class Anunnaki. They came down. These are the gods that, you know, the angels that fell from heaven. They came down from Mars to Earth to go to battle against Enlil and Enki. And there was a big war that was about to start, and that's when they decided to make the Homo sapien. But where we lost Atlantis was during this global flood that came, and that's when it washed Atlantis away. But then after that, there was another war. So now these are one race.
These Emerald Tablets talk about the Great Flood, which leads me to believe the tablets after the flood, obviously, right?
Well, yeah, the tablets were written after the flood. Now there was, because the tablets were written after the flood, but the tablets mention life before the flood. So if you look at the Sumerian Kings list, which is located in the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, England, it's got the kings list of antediluvial kings that ruled over Earth for over 200,000 years. It's just a handful of kings ruling for many. Some ruling for 14,000 years, some ruling for 28,000 years. These people had extensive lifespans, and this is one of the main displays at the Ashmolean Museum. So pre-flood, there were people here that were not human beings that were ruling over this planet in different cities on this Earth, and it's well documented and baked into clay.
And hence the flood, to get rid of them?
Well, it's a combination. It could have been, from Enlil's point of view, to get rid of them, or that they knew it was coming and they didn't want to stop it. They could have stopped it, but they didn't. Or some of the interpretations state that they caused the flood on purpose to get a fresh start on this planet and wipe away the people and everything else and all the technology and start all over again. So that interpretation is kind of up in the air, whether it was something that was geological that could have been prevented but wasn't, or whether it was done by an actual an act that was like, we want to make this happen right now, and it was done.
What do you think caused the flood, Billy?
I really think that the flood was probably caused by a comet that was coming by, and I thought they saw an opportunity to take this comet and crash it into the planet.
So it did hit.
That's what I think happened. I think that they
hit
used
the ocean and
hit the ocean
for 40 days and 40 nights, right?
Yeah, a lot of turmoil and everything else on the entire planet. And I think that was probably one of maybe several great floods. I think there were probably two more other floods, but not ones that covered the entire planet, just big regions of different areas.
Did that flood destroy the Atlantic civilization?
Yes, it did. In my opinion, it destroyed the Atlantic civilization, and I think it was directly in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean is where it originally was, in my personal opinion, now from doing a lot of research.
Sure.
And I think that one of the main reasons why I think it was a directed meteor strike was because there was a little bit of anxiety and anger back and forth between these Atlantean people about the fact that some of them had now taken these humanoid clone, women, men and women, and started mating with them,
right,
outside of their own race.
Creating the Nephilim.
Right. And so it was like, okay, this is enough, and then it became a jealousy thing, and then it became a war, and eventually, when there were so many people on this planet, they decided, you know what, we're going to just wipe everything clean and start fresh again.
Did some of them from Atlantis flee to places like Egypt and then contribute to the building of the Great Pyramids?
Absolutely. Well, that's what happened. Thoth was one of the original Atlanteans. He's the son of Enki. And after they fled, after the Great Flood, they fled to a safe location, not on this planet, because he talks about in the Emerald Tablets in the opening verses that his dad tells him to get in this great ship and take the crew with you and go back to the Earth. So they actually take off into the sky until they say they saw the planet disappear. When they got to Earth, they then started descending where they saw one of the ancient great temples with the floodwaters residing down beneath it, and that's when they decided to land. So I don't think they're from Earth. They went away and they came back. They're always going and coming all the time.
Sure.
You know, but these are some really advanced people. When they opened the ship, the doors to the ship, the people at that time now were like barbaric, and they wanted to attack them. And Thoth raises his staff, and he says he sent out a ray of vibration, stopping him still as stone in the mountain. So he had some kind of advanced weaponry that froze these people but didn't kill them. And I kind of compare that in the book to something we have called the active denial system in the military now, where they have the same beam weapon that can stop a crowd from attacking without injuring anybody. So
it renders them down to their knees.
Exactly, right? Exactly. So I make the comparisons there so you can see we're talking advanced technology in ancient times.
Could the craft that you're talking about, the ships that you're talking about, have been basically the story of Noah's Ark? In the fact that maybe they went up in a spaceship, not a boat.
Yeah, I really do believe that Noah's Ark was a DNA bank. Now, if you look at the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is one of the Sumerian tablets, which is like the full story of Noah's Ark, he was given a design to build an actual submersible, and it wasn't square or rectangular; it was actually round. The actual, the
like
writing,
a craft,
like a craft. And some of his local animals, just his local farm animals, were put on there, but overall, it was really the collection of DNA from all around the planet of animals that they would have needed to re-kickstart civilization. And I think they went to a DNA bank, and then because Thoth and Enki were master geneticists, and so I think it was very easy for them to bring back these animals. So in one part of the Sumerian tablets, they talk about fashioning a lamb, because lambs hadn't been here yet. So these people were very advanced genetically and were able to make all these animals.
There was a point where I would say we've lost all this past information, but researchers like you have obviously found it.
It's here. You just have to read so many different things and research so much information to paint the big picture. You can't just like go, I'm going to read this one book and I'll learn about the ancient past.
It's not going to happen.
No, you've got to go through thousands of texts and scriptures and books and writings and perspectives and information, and you have to research modern technology, because you can't envision what they're trying to say if you don't compare it to something in the modern times. And we have a lot of modern technology right now that will really give you an idea of what they were talking about in the ancient past.
Are they still here, Billy?
I really do believe they are. In the Emerald Tablets, Thoth talks about the fact that they walk amongst men, but unlike men. So they use these avatar bodies that they clone and create, and they put their consciousness into them. They call it transfer my ego into this sleeve, basically.
Do they know what they are?
They know what they are.
They do.
Yeah, I think they've long shed their original avatar bodies that they were probably born with, and they've now just been jumping from body to body. I don't think that they jump from bodies that are not theirs. It appears that they have the capability of making their own sleeves, and they transfer into those bodies.
Since this has been going on since the beginning of time, I would think, are they doing this on other planets too?
Oh, I really do believe so. One of the biggest things that I've researched are space anomalies, and I've made the news on that many times.
Sure.
Researching information from the NASA and the European Space Agency, the Russian Space Agency, the Indian Space Agency, and looking into all of their space data from the probes that have been sent out, all the rovers that have been sent out, and we've now, the United Family of Anomaly Hunters, we've cataloged thousands and thousands of images, over 58,000 anomalies in our solar system alone, and a lot of these things look like things just on Earth. On Venus, I discovered through the USGS.gov radar image of a city there, and this city actually looks like it's got a temple on it with a cross.
Oh my gosh.
So I think that they've duplicated this thing over and over again, masquerading as gods as they go, and utilizing people as cattle to do a lot of the work for them.
I got a call a couple weeks ago from a former NASA employee who is well known, but I'm not going to mention his name yet. And he's in bad health, very bad health. And he said, George, I want to put together a bunch of documents and send them to you. Give me your address. And I said, what's in these documents? And he said, you got to see them first. But they're coming from within NASA. I can't wait to get these things.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows what they are?
Oh, yeah. It's probably going to be a lot of anomalies that weren't obfuscated. There's a lot of stuff that's popping up that's coming out now And the government's kind of really giving us a drop-by-drop disclosure and letting people kind of get the information. They're not really outwardly denying aliens and UFOs anymore. So they're kind of just letting us be the researchers and look it up and bring it to the general population as like we're a form of the disclosure as well.
Our Gaia series, called Ancient Civilizations, explores the mysteries of the Great Pyramids as well.
There is an ancient code to be found within the Great Pyramid. It's within the geometry, not just of the pyramid itself, its relationship to the other two main